everybody. Welcome back. My name's Kaylin, and today we're going to talk about how I save money traveling. The first thing I want to talk about today is flights. Flights are probably the biggest purchase you'll make for any of your travel. The biggest trick with flights is to be flexible about the day you need to travel and even the time of year. The website that I use most is called Skyscanner. This website allows you to see flights of all different companies and what prices they're at. Another great way to find cheap flights is to use a subscription system like Scott's Cheap Flights. You pay a monthly or yearly fee and they will send you emails every time a cheap flight comes out of your city. Before you subscribe to one of these services, make sure you know where you want to go. These deals are very short-lived, so if you don't know where you want to go, you might miss out on really good deals. But if you already have an idea of the time and place that you want to go, you'll be able to keep an eye out on those emails and hopefully find a cheap flight. In general, the cheaper flights are going to be more inconvenient. There are going to be earlier flights, longer layovers, or just kind of awkward times of the week. Being flexible is the key to those flights. So just keep an eye out and be open to different ideas and different times to travel. The next important piece of your traveling is your transportation. How are you going to get from place to place once you're actually in the country? Now, there are some countries that public transportation is so good and reliable that you don't need to worry about renting a car. If you are going to take public transportation, I suggest you look at Rome to Rio. This is a great website to help you figure out what is going to be the cheapest and most efficient way to get from one city to another. It'll give you bus schedules, train schedules, flight prices, and all of the different options to get from one city to another, or even one country to another. Now, if you're traveling in a country that it's easier to have a car, I suggest you shop around. Don't just pick the first car that you find. Explore what options you have. If you are wanting to use a more reputable car company, I suggest booking early and booking one that's refundable. The reason I suggest doing refundable is because you can always go back and cancel that if you find a cheaper one later. Another option for some places is car sharing or carpooling. There are different websites like BlaBlaCar that allow you to find a car from another person who's already traveling from one place to another, or they're just renting out their car. So take a look at those websites, check out what happens in that country. The last thing is that sometimes countries have really good deals for car relocation. This is something I'm using a lot as I'm traveling through New Zealand. They are looking for people to drive a car from one island to the other or one city to another. They have cars for $1 a day, $5 a day, completely free. And all you have to do is pay for the gas and anything that happens to the car. It's a really great way to save money, but it does take time and it's a bit of a puzzle. So if you're someone like me and you love puzzles, this is a great way to save money. Another big cost while traveling is housing. Now you have to sleep somewhere, obviously, and so it is a requirement and it's not something you can skip out on. What I suggest is being open to ideas like couch surfing and Airbnb to give you a little bit more flexibility. If you're only wanting to stay in hotels, that really limits your options. Now, if you are going to stay in hotels, I suggest looking at hotels.com and kayak.com to find those deals. And if you are willing to branch out a little bit, Airbnb has great room rentals and whole house rentals. If you want to go really cheap, then I suggest looking into couch surfing and house sitting. I've been using house sitting for traveling around New Zealand, and it's been a great way to not only meet locals, but also save money. I'm able to stay in their home for free in exchange for feeding their cat or walking their dog. It's a great system to both help other people as well as get out there and travel on a budget. Food is another really important piece of traveling. Now, eating out every single meal is going to get really expensive. So what I suggest is eating meals at home and then mixing in those meals out. Pick a meal or two every week or every day that you're gonna eat out and then eat a sandwich for lunch or go home and eat spaghetti at dinner. Really saving money there is gonna help a lot. Now, it is important to still go out and enjoy those meals, but really just being selective about what times you eat and how many meals you go out for. Another thing I want to talk about is location. Not all places are created equal. Some countries are going to be more expensive than others, and some cities are going to be more expensive than others. It's really important to know what you're getting into while you're creating your budget, because a budget for South Africa is going to be very different than a budget from New Zealand. These countries are just vastly different, and the amount of cost for everything is going to be different. Do your research and really look into what is an average cost for something in this country. The last thing I want to talk about is experiences. For me, this is where I splurge, and I just let it go because it's so important to how I travel and what I'm experiencing while I'm out there. If you want to go scuba diving, snorkeling, if you want to go zip lining, or even just go for a tour, those are often worth the extra money. But again, shop around and pick the one that you feel is going to be the most authentic and the most impactful for your travel. There's this really cool thing on Airbnb that they have experiences from local hosts. That's a great place to start. Also, just Googling it. Take that time to look into different experiences and let yourself splurge a little bit. It's worth it. If you are on a budget and you really do want to save your money, do a self-guided tour. Or if you're staying at a hostel, see if they have a free walking tour. Even some cities have free walking tours. So do your research, look around, ask people who you're staying with, ask the hosts at the hostel or the Airbnb that you're going to, because they will be able to give you the best tips for that area. Thank you so much for being here. Your support means the world to me. And please like, subscribe, and follow so that I can share more tips and tricks with you and to the rest of the world. I will see you next time.